And we are back with another installment of the number one rated business show right here on the Real 1100 AM. I'm your host, KC Pride. And it's Columbus Day. I don't even know if we celebrate Columbus Day anymore. Is we even supposed to celebrate that? Because we ain't the Bahamas. I don't even think it wasn't us that he discovered. It wasn't us. It wasn't us. Anyway, we ain't celebrating Columbus. Thank y'all so much for joining us again for another episode of the number one rated business show right here on the Real 1100 AM. I've got in studio with me the celebrity credit guru himself, James Hunt, joining me in the show.
Yes, sir.
Also joining me pretty soon, we got Miss Nakechi Taifa and Virginia Holland will be coming on. Also, if you're out in the Smyrna area, please go see my good friends at Titans. 1834 South Cobb Industrial Drive. I say it every time. Most time I remember what the address is. Y'all caught me off guard today. But anyway, go see my good friends over at Titans Fitness. You can check them out at titans.net. They are a world-class gym with some world-class trainers. And trust me, you don't have to be a bodybuilder to go in there and get fit. Congratulations to the 2020 world champion LA Lakers. I told y'all they was going to do it. I told y'all. I was a little disappointed on Friday, G-Money. I was a little disappointed when they lost because I thought we was going to get it that night, but AD wasn't playing how I needed him to play, but we went ahead and pulled that championship out last year. So I just got a question. Are they the 2020 champions or the 2019 champions? Because I don't even know what season we playing in no more. It's 2020? All right, G-Money says it's 2020. He ain't going to tell y'all on air. That's all right. How you doing today? Mr. Celebrity Credit Guru, Mr. James Hunt. How you doing, sir?
Fantastic. Had some clients on the Lakers. So
you had some clients on the Lakers.
So I'm happy for them.
We're gonna get into it in a little bit. I was wondering why they call you Celebrity Credit Guru. I'm like, is you the celebrity or are you working with celebrities? So I say they the celebrities. All right, joining us today. She is a human rights activist. She just published her brand new book, Black Power, Black Lawyer, My Audacious Quest for Justice. Joining me right now is Miss Nakechi Taifa. How we doing today, Miss Nakechi?
Hey, I'm doing great. How you doing?
I am doing wonderful. Did I say your name right?
Yeah, you did it.
All right. How do we say it? Please pronounce it for me because it's just saying beautiful. Taifa. All right. All right, Black Power, Black Lawyer. Now tell me about this book that you have written. First of all, give me a little background on you now. What type of attorney are you? Because I'm assuming that you probably work somewhere around civil rights.
Yeah, well, I'm a social justice attorney, a civil rights attorney, human rights attorney, and what we call now in today's lingo, a movement attorney.
A movement attorney. All right. Now,
basically, I do advocacy, policy reform, particularly on justice. Anything related to justice.
Anything related on justice. All right. So tell us about this book that you have written, Black Power, Black Lawyer. Let's just start right there and leave it.
All right. Well, my book, my memoir, is not just my personal story, which I must say is both serious and sad and spicy and scandalous.
Okay.
It offers a personal glimpse from an insider's perspective to movements, into the Black Power movement, the anti-apartheid movement, the movement to free political prisoners, the reparations movement, and now the movement against mass incarceration.
All right.
Today we find ourselves confronted with another movement out there, nothing radical, but just one for Black Lives Matter. So what does my book do? It serves to connect the dots between the movements of the past, particularly the ones that did not make it into the history book, that society can learn from our faults and our flaws and triumphs and our victories and in our triumphs. And that's really it in a nutshell.
Now, quick question. Because a lot of people are telling us, okay, that we are misconstrued, that we are off base, that statistically we are not being shot down and hunted down and killed in the streets the way that we think. They say statistically more white people get shot by the police than black people. So how do we call this an actual social injustice?
Well, first of all, statistically, believe it or not, the more white incarcerated than white people. Disproportionately, there are more black people shot by the police. Disproportionately, there are more black people with health disparities and educational disparities and all that kind of stuff. So when you look at the percentage and the proportion of black people in society, I'm sorry, it's boogie boogie, whatever anybody says. It's not something serious going on. It's serious as a heart attack.
Now, explain this to me. What is actual social justice look like from your eyes? Because I talk to a lot of different people, and we get a lot of different opinions and a lot of different ideas of what actual social justice is. To me, it's equity. It's not just about equality, but it's also about equity. It's about making sure that we're also getting our fair share of opportunity, that we're getting our fair share of investment in our neighborhoods and our communities and our businesses and this type of thing. Not just, yes, we definitely want better policing. Yes, we want, people. We don't want every time we get pulled over to have a gun in our face or the possibility of getting shot. But we also want an opportunity to get ahead and have some type of advancement, because we are doing the worst out of everybody in this country as a community. Talk to that point for me.
Absolutely right, my brother. I couldn't have said it any better than what you said it. You tied it up in one neat little basket there. And when we look at all the struggles on the table that have been there for decades, we're talking about police misconduct, police brutality, police murders, we're talking about voter suppression, we're talking about a Supreme Court ever tilting to the right, we're talking about mass incarceration, we're talking about the economic wealth gap, the health disparities, the list goes on and on and on and on and on. And all of that, I fight against all of those things, and I fight for the ultimate and the supreme, the doing the right thing, okay? The justice, not the just.
Wow. Now, speaking of Supreme Court justices, they are in the process right now of nominating, or not nominating, but I guess putting her through the ringer, because they definitely gonna vote her in. But she's in the process of testifying now to the Senate and going through the confirmation process. How do you feel about this new justice?
So, this is one of the things I talk about in my book, not just this new justice, because this wasn't happening at the time I wrote my book. But I lived through the Clarence Thomas nomination, and I will say that not since Clarence Thomas still vacated by Thurgood Marshall as the Supreme Court appointment, then a consequence was Ruth Bader Ginsburg's replacement is like a disease. I mean, we're talking about a situation where Clarence Thomas replaced the civil rights icon Thurgood Marshall. We're talking about Amy Coney Barrett, the nominee, a diehard conservative, slated to replace another civil rights icon for women, Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Once again, we find ourselves in a situation where the resulting shift is going to be very scary in terms of the Supreme Court. We're going to be talking about a 6-3 super majority, okay? And that is really, it's a scary situation that's going to be occurring. And there's a rush, despite the coronavirus pandemic that is currently confronting the country and the world, there seems to be a rush to put her in place. Why? Well, one of the reasons is,
It's because he might not be president after.
well, there might be a challenge. He's going to be the president. It's going to be Bush before Supreme Court all over again,
Now break it down for some people, and let people understand the severity of this, because I think a lot of people think that they're so far removed from the Supreme Court that, hey, what they do at the Supreme Court level, what they're doing even at the presidential level, does not affect me like that at home. I need to be a lot more worried about my local judges, my local politics, my state government, and this type of thing. So break it down. Why is it so important that we pay attention to this Supreme Court nomination?
It is directly impacting us. It will directly impact us, not just on the lower court level, but on the high court level as well. The right to vote, we count it, is under attack. Big time. We have the Affordable Care Act on the table. It's like about to be accident, about to be slaughtered. I mean, there's so many things at stake. I mean, during the Clarence Thomas nomination, we called it rights at stake. Our rights, our justice at stake. And basically, when we title in my in the chapter, the segment in my memoirs called when Clarence Thomas gives the brother a break. Well, yes, folks ain't always info, okay? And women ain't always. I saw that movie, The Handler, the book. The Handmaid's Tale. I'm scared. I mean, I'm just saying, what is the country possibly rolling, rolling down and rolling towards? So it's critical importance that folks get out there and vote. I know this, you're all not partisan. I'm not going to get partisan at all, but people need to vote. I don't care if Kamala Harris needs to be a prosecutor. We need to vote. People change. I don't care if Biden wrote that crime bill that I talked about in my book, the 1994 crime bill, which led to that. We are just
No, let's stop right there for a second. Let's stop right there for a second, because I think a lot of y'all is giving him a way too big of a pass on a lot of things Biden done done. Because Biden done some things that ain't borderline racist. It was racist. Okay? Now, your president said, I'm going to invest $500 billion into the black community. He said, I'm going to help start 500,000 black
fight tooth and nail to get some type of sentencing provision within that makes the practice that powder deterrent sick sexual actors. So no, this wasn't something that he just did. I mean, this was the result of decades-long work. And let me tell you, he is not denounced white supremacy. He is not.
Now, come on. This man, he has renounced white supremacy several times. I ain't got no problem with people beating up on him, but we gotta stay to the fact. Now, he has denounced white supremacy. At the end of the day, I think he is a narcissistic person, but I don't think it's just racism. Yes, I did hear about that. I did hear, but okay, they said they was going after her. All right, they said they was mad at her because she done shut Michigan completely down and they can't do nothing up there. Now let's get back on your book. No, I was saying when they came out, when it finally hit the news headlines and this type of stuff, whatever this militia or whatever group, we got all these crazy militias nowadays. But the group said they did this as a personal attack to her because of the simple fact that she has kept Michigan shut down to a point where it's really, really hurting businesses.
Well, I don't really consider it a personal thing. I mean, we're talking about protecting lives. One of the things I deal with the criminal justice system. We have over 2,000 people who have been infected nationwide in the prisons. I haven't seen anything from the administration dealing with that. Over 100 people have passed in the prison system with respect to that. I haven't seen anything with respect to that. And then we're talking about in the free world, we're talking about protecting lives. But the Senate hearings that's going on right now, the confirmation Supreme Court hearings. I mean, you have members up there who have tested positive. My plea, Senator Lee tested positive for coronavirus, who are still up there with the mask.
Oh yeah.
This is some basic. And you know what? We're talking about just us. We are impacted, we black folks, okay? Disproportionately from the coronavirus due to the decades of inequities and trauma that's existed upon us ever since the enslavement era. That's one of the reasons I talk about this reparations, which I hope you don't have a problem with, but it's your reparations that I talk about in my book.
Let's talk about some reparations, because I hear a lot of politicians want to come out here and use reparations all the time to try to get some votes. But what does reparations actually look like? Let me tell you, I can assure you, it's only been just recently, 2020,
narrative to have it informed by what came before.
Now, your book is entitled My Audacious Quest for Justice. I like that. Tell me some of the things that we're gonna learn about in the book. All right.
Getting arrested right after graduating from law school, getting arrested in terms of trying to help to bring about a free South Africa anti-apartheid movement, female Nelson Mandela from prison. These are some of the things that I've been involved with, representing the lead defendant in the Capitol bombing case. You know, winning a stiffer settlement for my clients in a major lawsuit against a major media conglomerate. You know, working, being the chair while I'm in college of the National Committee to free the RNA 11, a group of black nationalists who were, arrested and sentenced, to prison for just defending themselves.
Oh yeah.
They had a lot of people that inspired me, such as Angela Davis, who wrote a blurb back in my book, such as Tokwe Lumumba, who was one of my legal mentors, ended up being the mayor of Jackson, Mississippi, before his untimely demise. Francis Wells, long before it became fashionable and mainstream type, conversation. Danny Glover, the actor, these are people who both learned in the back of my book, the people I looked up, Peter Bonnie, Tony Sand, Julius Garvey, the son of the Honorable Marcus Garvey from the 1920s, wrote a blurb to the back of my book.
Wow.
I feel honored, and I am blessed, and I am humbled by all of my ancestors who I studied their feet, and by my contemporaries who continually hold up the torch, freedom.
Amen. Amen. Now, give us a little idea of a couple more things in the book. What are some of the other things that you kind of touch on? Because I hear a lot of big names. I hear, you coming up through that militant part. Do you relate anything to today's social climate that we're living in?
Yeah, I do. But before I even go to that, I just say it's a very personal story, my brother. It's a human story. I have a section on there called Sex, Lies, and Videotape.
Wow.
I have a section in there, my big, fat, new African weddings and divorce. I have a section in there, a husband from the classified. It's not just, it ain't all politics and struggle, It's a human story. I am a very human person. There's no difference between me or any other sister that's just that's just out there. But one of the things I really want is for the movement of today, the young people of today, to do as the great freedom fighter Frantz Fanon said, to every generation, he says, must discover their mission and must fulfill it or must betray it. And I'm hoping that this generation that's out there in the streets today is discovering their mission, looking back to the past and connecting those dots and fulfilling their mission for their generation. So, I leave some breadcrumbs for the generation that's out there now. And I just want to also just say, a lot of the names in my book, you're not going to find in the history book. But they were very real people, and they were the precursors to a lot of the struggles that are going on right here, right now, today.
Wow. Miss Nakechi Taifa, if somebody wants to pick up this book or if somebody wants to get connected with you, how can they do that?
All right, so they can ask for their favorite Black or independent bookstore, right up there on Amazon, or they can look at my website. I have a list of over 100 Black bookstores they can get it from. My website is www.blackpowerbblacklawyer.com. Blackpowerbblacklawyer.com. on Amazon.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us, and I cannot wait to receive my autographed copy of the book.
Well, we got to have that conversation about after the election.
Thank you so much, Ms. Taifa, for joining us right here on the number one rated business show. And we will be right back after this. Oh, man.
It's like you hot, man.
Huh?
You hot over there?
Yeah, I always get like that. Nah, man, I'm having some streaming issues. We keep blinking in and out, and then we getting all this feedback. We'll just cut it off. That sound way better. You said she online? She online? Right.
Visit them at yourfinespine.com. This is KC Pride.
This is Viginia.
And we asking you to tune in to ABJ Radio right here on the Real 1100 AM every Monday from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. Whether you're in your car, on your phone,
Or at your job.
tune in to ABJ Radio, the number one rated business show right here on the Real 1100 AM, Monday 6 p.m. to 7 p.m.
And we are back right here on the number one rated business show. Once again, I'm your host, KC Pride. Joining me in studio today, Mr. James Hunt, celebrity credit guru.
Yes, sir.
On the line coming to the program, Miss Virginia Holland. She is also a host of her own show, Intentional Conversations on B Talk 100. How we doing today, Miss Virginia Holland?
Hi, how are you, Kevin? Thank you for having me today.
Thank you. I'm about to go crazy. I was having some technical difficulties. You know how it is. You see, I can talk to you like this because we both in radio, so you know what it's like behind the scenes when you having the technical difficulties. All right, you still with me? Did we lose Miss Holland? Are you there? All right. So, Mr. Hunt. Oh, okay.
Thank you for having me today.
I lost you for a second. You all right?
Yep.
All right. So what?
I do. People do not understand, Kevin. They don't understand what to do this job.
It's a lot.
I'm still here.
It's a lot. So, well,
I'm here.
I'm with you. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? I think we have some. All right. So, what we talking about today, Miss Holland?
I'm good. I was just saying that people want to do this job, but they don't understand what we all have to do, what we go through.
Oh yeah. It's a lot. Before you know it, it ain't no telling what might happen, and then it's all live going out through folks' cars right this second, so they hear all this craziness going on. So, what we talking about today, Miss Holland?
Kevin, what I wanted to talk about, well, you were on my show last Thursday. You've been on there before. Thank you very much. But we were talking about people taking responsibility for themselves. We were specifically.
I think we having some technical difficulties with Miss Holland. You cutting in and out on us. Let me do this.
On our show on Thursday,
Okay.
we were talking about people taking responsibility for themselves, and it was on the conversation of whether to wear a mask or not to wear a mask. Well, I'm not here to talk about whether a person should wear a mask or not.
Okay.
I feel very strongly that I want to let people know, take self-responsibility and accountability.
Definitely.
Oh my goodness.
We having some technical issues with you today. It's like you're cutting in and out with us. But no, I definitely agree. You have to take a lot. You have to take responsibility for your own actions and yourself, and keep yourself out here. Keep yourself safe out here. And I'm one of those type of people. I try to explain to people where we are nowadays in marketing. I say y'all missed the mark with this whole campaign because y'all should have been talking about protect yourself versus protect grandma, protect your neighbor, and this type of stuff. That ain't the environment that we live in. And I think they would have got a lot more buy-in, especially from young folks, millennial, matter of fact, from everybody. Honestly, in this climate that we currently live in, if they had a message more about protecting yourself from COVID versus keeping your neighbor safe. You there with me? All right, Ms. Holland, this is what we're going to do. We're going to try to get you back on the line a little bit later in the program because we're having a lot of technical difficulties with your audio. But give me a call back and let's see if we can't get you connected without all these problems. In studio with me. We just got to keep it rolling. We just told y'all about this type of thing in radio. But in studio with me today is Mr. James Hunt, celebrity credit guru of yours. I was so excited to have this conversation because I love talking about credit, money, finance, and everything else. So tell us, celebrity credit guru number one, how I get an 800. Just go straight to it.
Wow, it's about self-discipline and understanding your credit score and understanding there has to be a strategy attached to the way you actually apply for credit and the way you pay your bills. You have to be intentional with your financing to make sure that you're able to actually make and consistently building that credit score and everything. You need to have like a strategy with it. And most people don't have a strategy attached to how they're actually doing their credit. And so their scores are all over the place and they don't understand it. And I would say that if you don't know yourself, you should probably consult someone who can help you with it.
Now, let's go to the beginning. I was just trying to get that out there real quick. But you used to actually be homeless. And now you are a millionaire teaching young black men how to be successful and how to get their credit right.
Yeah, ain't God good? So I started off homeless and I started my own company. I had the audacity to actually believe in myself at the lowest point in my life, and I invested $200 into a cheap laptop and got a cheap cell phone and set up shop in Starbucks. Right here in Buckhead, and decided to I'm gonna start this company. And everything else had happened, the bottom had fell out, so there was no other way to go other than down. So other than up. So I started it, and I refused to give up, and I became extremely successful doing so.
Now let's get to the homeless part, because homeless and Buckhead don't go together. All right, homeless and downtown go together. Now, so how did you kind of get in this situation? Because I know personally, luckily, thank God, I was never homeless, but I have had some rough times where I almost lost everything dealing in business and this type of stuff. Had some years, business didn't go good, had to claim bankruptcy. We all go through it. It is what it is.
So it wasn't the type of homeless where I was sleeping on the streets.
Okay.
But it was the type of homeless where I refused to deal with a bad situation for another night. Okay. And so I chose to, instead of being there, to actually just, I'm gonna stay, and I was walking up and down Peachtree and everything else, but I slept for several nights in a restroom stall at the Intercontinental Hotel.
Now tell me, is this a requirement to become a millionaire? Because I hear so many people with this same story that just come back and just blow it out the water, just crazy successful. Tyler Perry, we can go on long time. What is it about, I guess, getting to that breaking point or getting to that point in your life where it's either I'm gonna do this or, what is it that helps get people to becoming successful as you've made it?
I think it's when you get out of that comfort zone.
Okay.
And as long as you have a place to go, and as long as you have people that support you, as long as you have a paycheck coming in, then it's not easy to just jump off that cliff.
Oh, yeah.
But if you have nothing else but jumping off that cliff is the only option, and it's easier to make that decision.
Oh, yeah. I would definitely say it is much harder to make that decision when you got that paycheck coming in. You feel comfortable. I know how I'm gonna eat tomorrow.
Let me tell you, I was in Starbucks and trying to set up this company, and there were plenty of days that I anticipated asking the manager to give me a job. It was just like, I don't know if I should, I don't know if I can do this,
Okay.
and I had to talk myself into success almost every day.
I do find that being a business owner, because people think that just because you live in your dreams, like you don't get sick of living them. Okay. my goal, my thing was always to be an entrepreneur. Thank God we did it. Been an entrepreneur for over 10 years now, owning my own business, take care of myself and my family. But there's still days where I don't want to do it. Sometimes it's like, I don't feel like this today. I just want to take a day off.
Well, I think that when you have employees that depend on you for their livelihood and their mortgage and their rent and their car notes, and all of that stuff, there is a burden that is on your shoulders that I have to get up and perform every day. If I don't, they don't eat and they don't maintain their livelihood.
That's true.
And so there is a greater weight that forces me to get up every morning and to maximize every day.
Well, you also get to work with some awesome people. I see you work with people like Akon and Tank and Taraj and Lorenz and Tiny and Shaq. You the reason why Akon got all that money over there in Africa?
Well, I'm not necessarily the reason that he has all that money, because he's successful in what he does and in his craft. But when it comes to credit and financing, he doesn't make a purchase that requires credit without consulting me or coming to see me. And so I talk to him almost weekly, sometimes several times a week. And so it's not just him. So it's his wives, all of the people around him, all of that inner circle, everybody in that inner circle are my clients. And I think that once you educate a client, then if you're really good at educating them, then it impacts everybody in their inner circle. And with him, it's just like that. And with a lot of the other celebrities.
Well, tell me this. I am a cash person. Okay. I hate credit cards. I think credit cards, to me, I'm not paying you 23% interest on $30. Okay. I just can't do it. But I get penalized because I don't use credit. How should we be using credit?
Well, you have to understand that there's a strategy with using them. And so are you just going to simply buy your groceries at Whole Foods?
Okay.
Are you going to actually use your credit card and purchase the groceries and then pay for the credit card and pay it off on time, knowing that it will increase your score? So you have to be like intentional with what you're doing, that every time for the next year that I'm buying these groceries, I am setting in place what I will need in order to be able to get into this new home. And so I'm setting up a payment history, a track record, so that when the banks consult me concerning getting this house, I can actually say I have a track record of how I actually pay my bills.
Now, but aren't we paying more though? When I swipe that credit card versus when I just put the cash out there, the cash, I'm through with it. I ain't got to pay for it no more. I ain't got to see it again. But when I put that credit card out there, there's some extra expenses coming along with that, right?
There are extra expenses unless you pay everything off in full.
Okay.
So if you're going to pay and that grocery bill is $150, then it doesn't mean that you charge the $150 on the credit card and then pay a minimum $10 a month, because that's where all the interest rates are coming in at. But if you were going to pay $150, why not charge it on the credit card and then pay the credit card off in full on its due date?
I hear you. Now, what are some other things that people can do to start to kind of build credit up and kind of build their score? Because once again, I'm a straight cash person. I hadn't really gone out to get a whole bunch of loans and this type of stuff. I did the EIDL thing. I'm still waiting to hear about that. But other than that, what are some things that, because in credit, a lot of times people always want to sell you, say, we need to put some trade lines on your account, that type of stuff. Is that something that you teach people how to use those trade lines, or do you tell people stay away from that type of stuff?
Well, I say that you should be educated regarding trade lines,
Okay.
and not everybody needs trade lines. Um, the Black community has just become aware in the last few years regarding authorized users trade lines, and so it is to them, to some people who are not as educated in trade lines, it becomes like a way to actually um, blow my credit score up immediately, to purchase something that I don't qualify for and then get it and then bury myself in more debt. So I would say that you should be intentional with the way that you actually apply for credit, and that you should see how you can actually build that credit score up, putting on primaries, which are accounts that actually belong to you, and inserting those primaries into the credit, into your credit report, and building as many accounts as you can have that you can afford to pay on-time payments with, and that's the um, important focus, is making sure that that you don't take on more credit than you can actually afford to. But as you're taking it on, being able to make a series of on-time payments. Obviously, a person who has 2 credit cards versus a person that has 10 credit cards, the person who has 10 credit cards who's paying on time is going to build their credit up almost 5 times faster than the person who has just simply 2. So you want to kind of like be intentional the way you build your credit.
Now, what are some things that you teach people is using credit responsibly versus let me just go buy a whole bunch of stuff, let me max out my card, let me go get all the stuff I want right now because I ain't got to pay for it right now, I can just make payments. How can people use credit responsibly, not to get themselves in trouble in this type of thing? I know you said one thing, spend 150, pay 150.
It's knowing what the factors are in your credit score, and what can hurt your credit score versus what can build your credit score, and knowing that you cannot spend more than 30% of your available credit without it tanking your credit scores, and being intentional with the way that you actually make on time payments and consistent on time payments. And I would even warn against making payments before your due dates, because if that billing cycle doesn't go all the way around, you may not get the points added to your credit score because the billing cycle did not go around. So
Wow.
you want to literally wait until it's those due dates and then pay exactly on the due dates when those cards are due.
Wow. Okay. Now, what are some of the, how fast, let's say that, how fast have you been able to see credit scores start to rise? Or is it something that I need to be prepared to be dealing with this for the next couple of years? Is it something that I can get boosted up in 90 days? Like how fast does this process normally work?
Well, obviously, no 2 credit scores are identical, so different people have different issues within their credit reports. But if there is a strategy attached to the way you're actually building your credit scores, it may be that you need to address some of the negative issues in your credit report with removing those off, and then at the same time, simultaneously doing things to actually build the credit score up. There has to be a consistent pattern of building that credit score up to be able to get that score as high as you can get it. And then the question then becomes, even what are you building it for?
Okay.
Are you attempting to purchase a new vehicle? Are you attempting to purchase a home? Are you intending to actually start a business? Then you have to be able to prepare your credit and in such a way that this is what my goal is. And because this is what my goal is, then I have to do all of these things and make sure that I'm consistent with doing it. And maybe I need to add some more things on. The authorized users trade lines are used just simply as an enhancement to enhance your score, but they should not be the only thing that your score is made up of. Creditors know what a authorized user account is, so you cannot trick them with that. It should just simply be to enhance your score. So if you're doing all of these things right and you mix in this authorized user account, yes, it can enhance your credit score, but all of these things that I'm doing is really the nuts and bolts of what I'm actually building.
Wow. Now, what are some of the negatives that's on credit reports? Of course, I mean, you got to pay your bills, But what are some of the things that hurt you the most? I know one you just said being over leveraged. What are some other things that when people are starting to pull your credit, they go to look at that can really get you in trouble?
Wow. So bankruptcy is the most damaging thing that you can have in your credit report, and it stays in your credit report.
Well, thank you. My feelings ain't hurt.
Time.
My feelings is not hurt.
So that will definitely hurt you. But
does that mean it's over?
No, it doesn't mean it's over.
How long?
So, and that's the good news of credit, and that's the part that a lot of people are missing is just because something happened, it does not mean that, and just because life is the way it is today doesn't mean that financially I can be on a completely different page tomorrow. And you have to always keep in mind that no matter how bad things are today, I need to do the work of what is necessary so that when tomorrow comes, I'll be able to walk right into whatever door I need to get into financially.
You sound a lot more forgiving than the bank do. But
so I'm giving them the tools so that by the time you sit down with the bank, that everything is going your way. So you should do the work so that by the time you see the loan officer at the bank, they'll never know about the issues that you once had.
Okay. Now, I think a lot of folks get into trouble with debt to income ratio. What should the debt to income ratio actually be for most people?
Well, it depends. It depends on what all they have going on, and it depends on what they have. Again, they should keep your available credit down below 30%. But those who are wise with how they actually build their credit, their scores, they never let my available credit stays under 10%, because and then I mainly pay off everything, but my scores are in the almost mid 800s. So
now when you're saying available at 10%, you're saying I can only go get 10% more of what I make as a loan at this threshold.
No, so the amount of credit that deals with the debt amount has to do with your revolving credit, which is your credit cards. And so they understand that if you have a mortgage and if you have a car note, that those are not really the factors that go into your available credit and your usage. But it is the credit cards that people get into trouble with, because creditors want to see how you handle both installment credit and revolving credit. And with the revolving credit, can you pay everything on time? And are you living off of your credit cards, or are your credit cards just an accessory to your lifestyle?
Okay.
And a lot of us get into trouble because we live off of our credit cards, because we can't walk through Lenox Mall without realizing that if I get those new Jordans, if I get that Louis Vuitton bag, that it's getting ready to tank my score because I'm about to blow it up. And we're not financially conscious to our score as we are with the price of something that we see in the window at the mall.
Wow. See, I'm good with that. I can stay at the mall all day long. The stock market is what's kicking my butt right this second, because I cannot pass it up. I was like, dude, I got to get it. So let's also talk about what I was about to ask you something on credit cards. Hold on, it literally just slipped my mind. So good debt, bad debt. What's the difference?
Well, so it depends. It depends on what is. So bad debt would be you using the credit cards and having having maximized your credit cards. Good debt would be, I got the mortgage, but I'm making all on-time payments with it. Okay. And even though this house is $500,000, I have consistently made this $1,500 mortgage payment in the last 15 years. And I consistently making it, and I have made all on-time payments. Bad debt is I got a $15,000 limit, and my available credit is now only $3,000 because I spent $12,000 of the $15,000.
Wow. What about cars?
So with a car, that's an installment loan as well. So even though you have it, as long as you can afford to make the installment payments, it doesn't really have a factor on your credit score.
Okay. Even if I go get the V12 Mach, even if I go get the big boy, they don't care.
So they don't care. And the car you saw me drive in today, it was just like, that's a V12, but it has a $3,000 a month payment.
Well, I bet it do.
So it's expensive. So you just gotta like be able to know that you can handle that kind of payment. If you want to drive on that level, then you gotta be able to handle that kind of payment.
Wow. What are some do's and don'ts that you tell people when it comes to credit? Give me 3 do's.
Always make on-time payments.
On-time payments.
Never always use on-time payments, and then always make sure that you're not I would say also with the do's, do not co-sign for anyone.
Okay.
I think that we get into a lot of trouble with that because we get into trouble with relationships and letting our children, adult children, ask us to do certain things, and we give them our credit cards, and we let other people jack us up and jack our credit up. And I would say, so do not give someone your credit cards or give them access to your credit cards or let them talk you into co-signing. If you cannot afford to make that payment yourself for them, then don't co-sign for them.
Wow. Now, are secured credit cards a good thing?
Yes. So anytime you're able to add additional primary trade lines, which is what a secured credit card would be, that is a benefit to you because it is another positive trade line that you're adding to your credit report that reports to all 3 credit reporting agencies. And a secured credit card you're able to determine your own credit limit by your deposit into that certificate of deposit account with that particular bank. And then usually once you keep it for 6 months, that card will convert to an unsecured credit card, and they will give you your deposit back, and they will usually like double your available limit.
Now, do you consult businesses on credit?
Yes.
How is business credit different than personal credit?
So the factors in your PAYDEX score, which is a business credit score, are completely different than the factors in your FICO credit score. And the factors in that PAYDEX score, for example, with a business credit cards, you can blow the cards up. You can max all of your credit cards out, and it doesn't affect your PAYDEX score at all.
Wow.
So there's different factors in how business credit is ran versus how personal credit is ran.
Well, thank you so much for all this wonderful, great credit advice. I'm definitely gonna have to come check you out because I need the 800 so I can get one of them V12s like you get. But if somebody wants to get in contact with you, or if they want to enlist your services, how can somebody get in contact with you?
At Who is James Hunt on Instagram, www.celebritycreditguru.com website, and 404-998-2516 is the office phone number.
All right. Once again, Celebrity Credit Guru James Hunt. We're gonna try Miss Virginia Holland one more time. Miss Holland, are you there with me?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
All right, I'm hollering at you.
Okay.
So, trying to finish off this conversation, we got a few minutes, and then I'm gonna have to have you back for a longer conversation.
Yes. You know what, Kevin? We were trying to have a conversation about taking responsibility for yourself as relates to math or unmasked. But I want to talk about something that's equally important. Number one, I think that at this point, with only less than 30 days leading up to the election, my message is for people to take responsibility for themselves. We got to stop at some point. Stop blaming presidents on everything.
All right.
We got to stop. One thing that, and I'm an independent, and the one thing that always bothered me, I had this conversation earlier today with someone, and one thing that bothered me about Democrats, and I'm not here to bash them, but the whole notion of voter suppression just because you are required to have an ID is ridiculous. You're supposed to have an ID. Why are you walking around without an ID anyway?
I still don't understand how it is we are in 2020 and ain't nobody talking about voting online. I can transfer $100,000 through my bank account online, never walk in the bank, but I got to go stand in line for 6 hours or either fill out some paper ballot to vote in my country. That just don't make sense to me. I'm sorry.
First of all, Kevin, come on, let's be real. We're America, but we're slow. We're behind other countries that we're supposed to be leading. So I think that we're going to get to that, especially after this election. But for now, I don't want people to get caught up on voter suppression, already having a disposition that I'm going to be for doing my responsibility as an American citizen. It's really, really important that you get there the best way you can, any way you can, but not to depend on other people to carry you. That's the problem. We, as a culture, we depend on people to carry us for everything, and that really bugs me. And that's why I'm really glad that we have to have a radio show in radio with Virginia Holland Davis, intentional conversations for intentional outcomes. Because to me, it's really important that we have intelligent, sensible conversations that actually make sense and that actually have a solution. I'm tired of being seeing people have conversations that have no end, that have no solution, have no resolution, and have no hope. I'm tired of those types of conversations.
Oh, yeah. Well,
that's why we're still in the place where we are, in my opinion. I truly believe that. So I think for all business leaders, organizational leaders, whatever kind of leader that you are, wherever you are, it's important that we use our position and our leadership to speak up and speak out, leading by example and being responsible, number one, and being accountable, number two. I think that if we could just accomplish those two things, we would be in a better place overall. We should not be depending on whether it's Republican or Democrat for our own position in life. That's our responsibility and ours alone.
wow. Well, for everyone out there listening, early voting started today. I'm just having all kind of errors today. Early voting did start today all over Georgia. I heard that some places had waiting lines as long as 6 hours. I know some folks were able to just walk in and get right out. Did you have a chance to go by and check one of the polls or get your vote in today? Or
a lot of things going on, but I am going to make it there early tomorrow. I'm in the Belleville area.
Okay.
Let me just say this for people who may not know. If you are disabled, if you have a disability placard on your car or a tag, take a picture of it on your cell phone, bypass the line, go up to the front, show it to them. They will let you in ahead of the line.
Wow.
Because in my precinct last election, some election we had here in Georgia, they actually did not have people to usher people in, to take care of that. But if you go early at the voting places, they definitely have people out there that you just show that, and they'll usher you in. So don't let, because you can't stand, for any length of time, you're in a wheelchair, you're on crutches, whatever, don't let that stop you. Don't let that be an excuse. Take a picture, keep it on your cell phone, and show it whenever you need to for whatever reason.
Well, Ms. Holland, unfortunately, we got to get out of here. We got about a minute left in the show. They're going to start playing the music on you. If people want to tune into your show, Intentional Conversations on B Talk 100, how can people listen in?
It is in radio with Virginia Holland Davis, Intentional Conversations for Intentional Outcomes. It's on btalk100.com. That's btalk100.com. Or you can download our app at the Apple Store or Google Play Store, or call 359-819-8191. That's the number that you can dial direct, and just bam, you can hear us. Not when you call in like I'm calling into you. If they want to participate, it's that number that they can call in and listen. And I'm on every morning, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and 4 o'clock on Sundays Eastern Standard Time.
Well, thank you again. Once again, it is the #1 rated business show right here on the Real 1100 AM. Thank y'all so much for hanging in there through all the technical difficulties and everything today. You can follow me on Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn. You can look for KC Pride or I am KC Pride. And until next week, we are out.